back, everybody, to the show. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. I have a whole clipboard filled with a ton of topics that I want to talk about, most of them having something to do with the Charlie Kirk assassination, but unfortunately, due to the time, I'm not going to be able to cover everything on this clipboard, so I'm going to try to cover as many things as I can possibly cover, but I will hopefully have either tomorrow or in the upcoming days a part 2 for today's episode. But like I said, I will try to cover as many things as I possibly can in today's episode. So anyways, thanks for joining. You're watching the Common Sense Report.
Project that Donald Trump will become the 47th president.
America is back.
Okay, so for those that aren't already aware, there has been a lot of topics around Jimmy Kimmel over the last week due to him being taken off of air by ABC and Disney for some nasty comments he made about Charlie Kirk's assassin, Tyler Robinson, trying to characterize him as a Republican, even though all the evidence and facts are there to clearly say that Tyler Robinson is a Democrat. The shell casings that are engraved with gay messages and Democratic propaganda, the gay relationship he was in with a trans person, the hate he expressed with his family. We'll get deeper into that later. But if he took time to engrave Democratic messages into his shell casings, I think that that's enough evidence I need to give to say Tyler Robinson is a Republican. Now, there's people primarily on the left saying that it was a violation of Jimmy Kimmel's freedom of speech or First Amendment right to be taken off of air because of the comments. But if you really go deep into the details, it's not a violation of his freedom of speech rights. It was ABC and Disney's choice to remove him from air because of the comments. If he violated FCC's guidelines, then that would automatically get him taken off of air. That is not a violation of his freedom of speech. If he violated ABC and Disney's guidelines, that would get him taken off of air. So it's not a violation of his freedom of speech because he did not get in trouble with the law. He just got taken off of air because he violated regulations of the FCC, ABC, and Disney. So that was his fault, and that was Disney and ABC's choice to remove him from air. Now, it is a violation of our freedom of speech when it comes to Pam Bondi, as she wants to regulate our speech. She wants to get people who use hate speech arrested by law enforcement and get in law trouble because of hate speech, which is not okay. That is a violation of freedom of speech. I personally don't like Pam Bondi. First, it was the Epstein files and her clearly lying about the whole Epstein situation. And then it was the regulating hate speech. Look, hate speech is not okay, but it's still their freedom of speech right to hate speech. So it may not be okay, but that is their right. And it will result in natural consequences. Take, for example, the people that are celebrating Charlie Kirk's death have already gotten their natural consequences. They have lost their jobs. The Office Depot worker who refused to make a Charlie Kirk vigil sign, she lost her job. The military member who posted a inappropriate comment about Charlie Kirk's death, he got fired. And people Democrats who have posted about Charlie Kirk's death, celebrating, have posted videos apologizing and addressing the amount of followers that they've lost from it. People are getting their natural consequences, but we should not be arresting people and getting them in trouble with the law because of hate speech. That is a violation of the First Amendment. And conservatives we like the First Amendment right. We're the ones always saying that it is our First Amendment right to say things. And the Democratic Party already thinks that we don't like free speech. So to have Pam Bondi over here saying that we should regulate hate speech is not helping our situation and is making the Conservative Party look bad. And she is serious when she says that she thinks that people should get arrested for saying hate speech, which is absolutely ridiculous and should not be allowed. I personally don't like Pam Bondi. It was the whole Epstein situation and now this. But anyways, go ahead and take a listen to what Jimmy Kimmel had to say on his late night show, which primarily got him taken off of the air.
some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
So that was what got Jimmy Kimmel taken off the air. That was that whole situation. So now that we got that covered, let's move over to the whole Pam Bondi situation when she literally said on the Kate Miller show that she thinks that law enforcement officers should be going after people using hate speech in times like these. She thinks that it's okay for law enforcement officers to go after these people. That is a violation, a clear, unacceptable violation of freedom of speech. Like I said, people will get their natural consequences for using hate speech, but we should never, ever be sending law enforcement officers to get these people in lawful trouble for what they say. That is not okay. And again, they will get their natural consequences. But go ahead and take a listen to this shocking video of what Pam Bondi had to say on the Kate Miller show.
There's free speech and then there's hate speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie in our society.
Do you see more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people so we show them that some action is better than no action?
We will absolutely target you, go after you if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything, and that's across the aisle.
So yes, it is a shame to see that Pam Bondi wants to regulate free speech. It does not make the Conservative Party look good. So I just want to make it very clear that I am not happy with Pam Bondi. First, the Epstein situation, and now the whole Charlie Kirk situation and regulating free speech. That is not okay. And I personally don't really like Pam Bondi. She's never seemed very professional to me. And I think that she should be fired over the comments that she's made and wanting to regulate free speech. So that's the whole Pam Bondi situation. Now let's move to our next topic, which is going to be popular Democratic YouTuber Harry Sisson making a public post about, again, how Tyler Robinson apparently is a Republican and not a Democrat. So this is what popular Democratic YouTuber Harry Sisson had to say about Charlie Kirk's shooter, Tyler Robinson. Clearly, the shooter is not trans or an immigrant or any of the other labels MAGA prematurely assigned him over the last 2 days. Radicalized? Maybe. He grew up in a conservative state with a pro-gun family who are Republicans. We don't know motive. Let's stop guessing. This kid doesn't make sense to me. Like, it's shocking to see the level of Democrats that are just continuing to make these outrageous claims that Tyler Robinson is a Republican and not a Democrat, even though they've been proved so many times wrong by all the evidence that there is to prove that Tyler Robinson is a Democrat. And this is common among the Democrats, so that was more for entertainment purposes and to call them out. But they won't accept their fate. They never will. But at least I got to call them out. And Harry Sisson, not surprisingly at all, deleted that post that he made, so it is no longer on the internet. So if you were trying to find it, you won't be able to. But thank goodness screenshots exist, because I have a screenshot and I will forever have that screenshot. Many other Republicans have taken screenshots of it to post on their YouTube channels as well about it. The fact that he deleted that post, he knows that something's wrong with that post. He knows that he lied in that post. If he didn't lie and he knew that he didn't lie, he wouldn't have deleted it. If he knew he was right, he would have kept it on there. He knows he's wrong, and so he deleted it so that he wouldn't humiliate himself any more than he's already had. Tyler Robinson spent time, I don't even know how he did this, but he spent time to engrave the shell casings used in shooting Charlie Kirk in Democratic messages, like a anti-fascist song. He engraved them in anti-fascist messages, which I'll read to you in just a second. He engraved them in other gay messages and Democratic messages, and he was in a gay relationship with a trans person, and his own family reported to the FBI that he had expressed hate towards Christians and conservatives. Like, see, this is the evidence that there is to prove that he is a Democrat, but the Democrats still can't accept their fate, and they will continue to label Tyler as a Republican and not a Democrat because, again, the Democrats just don't make sense. So anyways, I'm going to read to you what he engraved onto the shell casings that were used in the shooting of Charlie Kirk. Okay, so these were the messages that Tyler spent the time to engrave onto gun shell casings. Go ahead and take a listen. The first shell casing said, "Notices bulges, OWO, what's this?" The second shell casing said, "Hey fascists, catch." The third shell casing said, "Oh Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Ciao, Ciao." And then the fourth one said, "If you read this, you are gay, LMAO." Those are the shell casings that Tyler Robinson spent time to engrave into the shell casings. Yet the Democrats still want to characterize him as a Republican. Things aren't adding up, y'all. Nothing in this whole Charlie Kirk assassination is adding up. And we will get to the whole FBI, most likely FBI being involved, maybe even Israel being involved. We will get into all that most likely tomorrow or in the future whenever I do the part 2 for this video. But this is all the proof I need to give to you that this guy is not a Republican, he is a Democrat, and accept your fate. Okay, so the next topic for today's episode, which will unfortunately be the last topic for today's episode until tomorrow or one of the following days, is going to be FBI officials and Turning Point officials saying that the bullet that Tyler Robinson used to kill Charlie Kirk did not penetrate all the way through Charlie Kirk's neck. Now, if all the evidence that we are getting and all the things that the FBI is telling us are true, then nothing is adding up. They say that Charlie Kirk's killer used a .30-06 to kill Charlie Kirk, which is a very powerful hunting rifle, which in most cases would penetrate all the way through the animal that they are trying to kill. That's the gun that they say they found and that Tyler Robinson used, but it's not adding up because then if that is the gun that Tyler Robinson used, it would have penetrated all the way through his neck. It's not like his bone is so strong that it just stopped it. That's what Turning Point officials are saying, and I'll read to you what Turning Point had to say about that. But they're saying it didn't penetrate all the way through. So then they're either lying about the bullet going through or they're lying about the gun. It's one of the two. And nothing is adding up. Everything the FBI is telling us, not adding up. The text messages between Tyler Robinson and his boyfriend, Lance, are not adding up. There's no timestamps. And so it doesn't fit into people's timelines. And that's something Candace Owens has noticed, is that there's no timestamps. And the language they use in the text messages are not language you would expect somebody normal to use. It is language that you would expect an FBI official or a law enforcement officer to use. And so it's a little fishy that Tyler is using language like that in the text messages. And so I'm going to go ahead and play a clip of what a .30-06 gun looks like shooting a realistic dummy head. And it's shocking to see what it does to the head. Go ahead and take a look. Okay, so you saw what that gun did to that dummy head, that realistic human-like dummy head. It completely blew up the head. So if that is the gun that Turning Point officials and the FBI are saying was used by Tyler Robinson, why didn't his head fall off? Why didn't his neck explode? That is what doesn't make sense to any of us. Because you can see a bullet hole when he was shot, but it did not explode like in the video I just played. So it is a very small chance that maybe Tyler used a different bullet that just wasn't as powerful. Or they're lying to us. And I think that they're lying to us based on all the things that we're getting. It's not adding up. And so I think they're lying about the gun that was used in the Charlie Kirk shooting. And we'd like to get more answers because I don't think we're getting the truth. But anyways, I'm going to read to you what Turning Point officials had to say. Okay, so this is what Turning Point USA had to say about Charlie Kirk's wound, bullet hole wound. This is what they had to say. Man of Steel. Charlie Kirk's body stopped a bullet that would typically just go through everything, and it was an absolute miracle that nobody else was killed, his surgeon told TP USA. Nothing's adding up. Nothing. They're saying that it was an absolute miracle that it didn't penetrate to try to divert attention from the fact that they're lying about the gun that was used. They're either lying about the gun that was used or the bullet hole wound. It may be the bullet hole wound. It may be the gun that was used. We don't know, which is why we want answers. But we're not getting the truth, and we would like to know the truth. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to today's episode, or I must say part 1 of today's episode. I will continue tomorrow or in the following days, but there is a lot to discuss, and we are not going to stop discussing it until we know that we have been told the truth, which we for sure have not been told the full truth. So we are going to continue to investigate until we know we are being told the truth. If you haven't yet hit that like and subscribe button, make sure to do that now to help me grow my channel. I want to be able to reach more and more people and continue Charlie Kirk's legacy. There's a lot to discuss, so we will most certainly continue to discuss it. Thank y'all for tuning in to today's episode. I hope that y'all have a very good day.